Right, so there's a couple of topics that we spoke about recently on this channel that have some updates, so I thought instead of making separate videos about them, let's put it into one. And more specifically, we have updates regarding the locked shop situation and the new look situation. So it's like a lock and look collective, if you will, which sounds like a band, but it's not. But let's start with the updates regarding the locked shop, because it's the one we have the least amount of updates for. And if you don't remember this situation, or you haven't seen my previous videos, I'll give you a very fast recap, but if you want more details, I'd recommend checking out my last video on it. But this is the locked shop, this is their TikTok account, and as you can see, they sell bracelets. Permanent bracelets, to be exact, that you're meant to have, like, for couples, where you just never take them off, and the important bit about them is the clamp. Obviously, the reason why this is the most important part is because they're permanent bracelets, they're not meant to come off. Well, recently a TikToker called Renee McClin actually did a review on the product and didn't have the nicest things to say. And it was actually mainly to do with the customer service. Basically, she got sent these products for free to do a review. The product came and it was faulty, the clamp wasn't working, so she reached out to the store and they basically wanted her to pay for a new clamp. Now, an important part of this is Renee says that when she actually reached out to the store saying her product was faulty, at this point they didn't know who they were talking to. They didn't know if they were talking to a returning customer or like a TikToker like Renee who'd been sent it for free. So basically, a big point in her video is they genuinely thought that a returning customer who had paid for the product reached out to them, said their product was faulty, and then got told that they had to pay if they wanted it fixed. Which obviously, if that is the case, is beyond wrong. That's not how you should run a company. I think it goes without saying, if you purchase a product and it shows up broken or just faulty in general, you should get that replaced or at least fixed. And then to add on top of that, there was like this weird back and forth after the videos came out where the locked shop were kind of making like a joke about it. They were commenting on Renee's videos, like calling her a Karen and whatnot. And then it was exposed, allegedly, that the locked shop had actually been purchasing products from a competitor brand just so they could break the product on purpose to leave bad reviews for that company. And to be fair, there's a lot of receipts that back up that claim. So if that is true, again, that is wild. That is not how you should be running a business. And if anything, it's actually pretty embarrassing for the locked shop that got revealed. Because a TikToker called Jenna Mediaco, I'm so sorry, I've definitely pronounced that wrong. But Jenna has also recently uploaded a video talking about the locked shop.
I just adore seeing all this shit about lock shop going viral, because if you don't know what's going on, just look up lock shop, the scandal will come up. Basically, they were an asshole to a content creator, and they owe me $750 for work that I did for them. This was back in April. Basically, long story short, they asked me for 15 videos and they paid me for half of them. Even though I completed 15, the first half was not performing up to their standard. But one thing about content creators, we can never, ever promise conversions. We can never promise performance. We can never and should never promise virality. Virality is never our goal as content creators at the end of the day.
Okay, so straight away, the first thought that comes into my head is that this is a pretty easy case to prove, right? Like, if she has a contract saying that if she makes this amount of videos, she makes X amount of money and then doesn't make X amount of money, seems like a pretty easy case to me. You can sue them for that, realistically. Now, an important thing to note here is that I don't believe we actually see a contract of any kind in this. I would like to think that she did sign a contract before doing this work for the locked shop, but we don't see it. Also, the thing of not being able to guarantee how many views your video is going to get, it is true in a sense, right? When you upload a video, you don't know how many views it's going to get. And clearly, this is the big problem here, is that when they did this campaign, the locked shop weren't happy with how many views Jenna actually got on her videos and decided not to pay her, which is not how it works unless it's in the contract. Because even though Jenna is saying that you should never have to guarantee how many views your video is going to get, it definitely happens. I've done brand deals in the past where they have said, like, your video needs to get this amount of views. If it doesn't, you have to do another video to make up for it. Now, usually when brands do that, it's like a reasonable number. Like, they've looked at your channel, seeing how many views you normally get, and it's a reachable number. They're not going to be like, right, you need to get millions of views, even though you don't usually get millions of views. But we don't even know if that's the case in a situation, right? If the contract doesn't even mention that the videos have to get a certain amount of views or anything like that, it shouldn't matter. She should be paid.
Basically, I was making organic content for them. $1,500 for 15 videos is way, way, way too low. Let's start.
Yeah, I mean, I can already tell that might piss off a few people. I mean, look at Jenna's page. She has 9,000 followers. I don't know if this is her main account. It might have been on a different account, but if it was on this account, it seems like a pretty good deal, actually. $1,500 for 15 TikToks. I feel like that's pretty good compared to what I've seen before. Like, at the end of the day, like, 9,000 followers obviously isn't the most amount of followers in the world, but yeah, I mean, I would say that's a pretty good deal. Well, she didn't get paid anyway, so it doesn't matter.
But I took it because they're relatively easy videos. Made all 15 videos, and a good chunk of them went live, and they had the TikTok shop link attached to the video. So the brand is continuing to make money off of my content to this day. So fair, they did pay me for some of the videos. They paid me for half the videos. But it's the fact that they're continuing to make money off of it when they told me I would get 20% of the commissions for TikTok shop as well. I have not seen a single penny of those commissions.
Oh, wow. Okay, right. I would love love to know how the commissions work then, because, I mean, I haven't done any TikTok shop stuff at all, but I would like to assume that the commissions are automatic if it's done through TikTok shop, like they would handle that, but I guess not. Maybe the company handles that, and they're apparently not paying Jenna the commission that she is owed from TikTok shop. And it seems like if that is true, that should be a pretty good reason for TikTok shop to take down their listings off TikTok shop, but what do I know?
I don't recommend getting into collaborations like this because they will not fulfill the commissions, because the commissions will just go on forever even when you end the partnership. Anyway, dude's name is Ethan. He still owes me $750 and then tried to belittle me and demean me and tell me I didn't deserve the money even though the work was completed and completed up to standard. UGC is not a performance-based job. So when half the videos went live, they paid me for only half, even though the work was completed, and it was agreed upon that I'd be paid for completing the videos, not for based on how many sales the videos would create.
Okay, but is there a contract? Because that's really important. If you signed a contract, you have a very, very strong case. Like, at the end of the day, there's no way they'd be able to get away with it if you did effing on that contract. If there was no view guarantee and all it said was like you had to post 15 TikToks, whatever it was, about this company, and you did it, they can't get out of that. You would be able to win that case really easily. Maybe it's not worth it to take legal action for Jenna, I don't know, but yeah, I mean, the contract would be very important here.
Our job is to create content because you can make the best video in the whole damn world and it could still flop. That's just the way it is. Or you can make the laziest video in the world and it could go insanely well. You just never know. You hire us for our strategy and our skill to hopefully lean towards conversions and brand awareness, but shit doesn't always end up perfectly. That's marketing for you, and if you're not willing to take the gamble, create the content yourself. But yeah, fuck Lockshop. I'm glad that they're getting canceled now.
Okay, right, pretty strong ending. And yeah, I mean, she's right, especially on like an app like TikTok, views fluctuate a lot. So you definitely can't really guarantee views on TikTok at all, really. On YouTube, it's a lot easier to do because even though views definitely do fluctuate and sometimes can fluctuate a lot, they tend to be a lot more level. Now, looking at the comments on this video, there is a lot of people asking the same questions I was regarding, is there a contract? Because again, that's very important here, and you should sign a contract if you're doing something like this. And she hasn't really replied to a lot of them, like suggesting the contract specifically. One that she has replied to says, do you have that in writing? And someone's replied saying no, which is why she isn't doing anything about it and just whining on TikTok, to which Jenna replied saying, you're my biggest fan the last couple of days, I'm honored. And yes, I do actually, and have a lawyer actively pursuing this, so thanks for all your concern. Now, with it being in writing, I don't know if that means there's a contract or if there's like messages between the two agreeing on this. And I'm pretty sure messages can be legally binding as well, but obviously having a contract would be much stronger for your claim. So I've just done a quick search to see how legally binding this could be. And as you can see, there's a section here saying are text messages legally binding? But before continuing, let's review what it means to be legally binding in the first place. If something is legally binding, it means it's a legal agreement that's enforceable and holds up under a law. So that brings us back to text messages. Are texts legally binding? Yes. Yes, under the Electronic Signatures in Global and National Commerce Act, or e-Sign Act, texts can be legally binding if they meet certain requirements, such as one party must make an offer that the other person has to accept. There must be an element of consideration, such as a fee for a service. Both parties must understand an intent. So basically, right, if they've agreed on it, and there's clearly an agreement based on what this service is and how much you're going to be paid for it, it should be legally binding. I guess it also depends whereabouts in the world she is, but still, it seems like it should be if she does have it in messages. Either way though, if you are doing something like this, you need to have a contract. It's so important. Jenna has also replied to a few other comments like this one saying, but that's your fault, you sent the videos before getting agreed payment. People are shitty and never trust someone will give you what they said. Either make a contract or not send anything till payment is sent. To which Jenna replied saying, in content creation, majority, if not all projects are delivered before payment. That's the industry for now, unfortunately. Again, didn't really reply to the contract bit. So I am starting to think that maybe she doesn't have a contract. She does just have text messages, which is definitely not the best way to go about it, but also this whole thing saying like, don't do the videos before getting paid. That's just not how it works at all, realistically. There's very few brands that would pay you before you make the videos. But either way, let's move on to the next topic, the newest update regarding the key look situation. Now again, I've already made a couple of videos about this, so I'm going to give you a very fast and brief recap. There's a lot of details in this story, so if you do want to see them, I've made a couple of videos on it at this point. But basically, the key look is a makeup artist and works at weddings. She recently uploaded like a series of videos talking about how she got kicked out of a wedding and she was really upset, just crying in the video. And she basically said that the couple that got married, specifically the groom, was very rude to her. More and more stuff came out, like a bunch of people who were actually at the wedding party came out and said no, in fact, the key look was staying over the amount of time that she was supposed to be there, and she was getting involved and kind of ruining like the videographer's like job, getting in the way of that so she could film her own TikToks for her own TikTok account. And then on the key look page, you could see that she recorded a lot of the wedding, including the ceremony, like way more than just the makeup. She also mentioned that she ended up getting kicked out of the wedding, but then decided to come back because she didn't want to like let the groom speak to her like that. And like I said in my last video, that is good in some cases where you're like, you know what, you're talking to me like shit, I'm not gonna listen to you. But in a case where you're being kicked out of someone's wedding and the groom, who's whose wedding it is the one who kicked you out, you should definitely not come back, realistically. And like I mentioned, that's a very brief recap. There's a lot more details. I'd recommend checking out the last videos. But throughout all of this, the one person that we haven't heard from is the bride. Now, I do need to give credit to Depressed Teacher 247 because these comments have been deleted. I don't know if they were deleted by the bride or they might have been deleted by the Key Look because it's on their page. I can see how people will probably assume that that's what's happened. But either way, this is what the bride Kiana had to say. I understand you're sorry for your behavior on the day. I forgive you on the day. It wasn't until all of this I had any animosity towards you. Yeah, and you know what? Throughout this whole situation, we just constantly keep sitting like, why did she feel like it was a good idea to post these videos, like multiple videos, talking shit about this wedding when this couple's probably on the honeymoon at this point? You've already been involved in this bit of drama on the wedding day, which they definitely wouldn't have wanted. Maybe just leave it at that point, because if you post the videos, not only is it affecting like the couple that have just got married, but you're also ruining your own chances and your own business, because people are probably going to see this and be like, oh, that might not be someone I want to work with who's just going to go on TikTok and like talk shit about the clients. Saying you apologize on a public forum and then giving a monologue about your business is not an apology. You have my number. Okay, so I'm assuming the Key Look mustn't have reached out to apologize and only apologize on TikTok, which does seem a bit wild considering Kiana hasn't said anything on TikTok up until this point. So surely from the Key Look's perspective, there's a chance that the bride doesn't even see these TikToks and isn't going to see your apology on TikTok. I don't know why she wouldn't reach out personally if she's going to make this public video. It seems like almost she's just apologizing because of the backlash, like to viewers, rather than the person that's actually being affected, which obviously is not the best way to go around it. You've made several videos already. We know your point of view. It's enough. Yeah, so this was because on this apology from the Key Look that we spoke about in the last video, she ends it by saying, I'm going to make a part 2 to this and say my perspective on the whole situation, to which we said in that video, it kind of seems like you already have, unless the story's like now changed. It just really doesn't seem like the best idea, especially business-wise for the Key Look, to make another video talking about the situation and giving her side of the story, because unless there is some big detail that we haven't seen before, people clearly don't agree with her perspective. Well, after I uploaded my last video on this topic, the Key Look did end up posting a part 2 to this situation, which seems to be a different part 2 than what she was originally going to do.
Hello everybody, I'm so sorry that it took so long for me to create the second video. It's just I've been working all day. I just wanted to come on here because I don't think that it's helpful for me to rehash the events of what happened that day. It's already enough out there. I just want to put this to rest out of respect for the couple.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good decision for everyone involved, like the couple and then also like the Key Look's business. Like, she really would have ruined it even more if she made another video kind of rehashing everything.
I listened to all the feedback and I want y'all to know that I hear y'all. I take full responsibility for my actions, and I definitely recognize that there are things that I could have done better in this particular situation. I was emotional when I made those videos, and I also was emotional when I was on TikTok Live, but I'm human and we all make mistakes. I plan to learn from this, and I plan to make sure that we have strong communication with our clients before their event and on the day of their event.
Yeah, I mean, I think this should be a pretty good lesson for people who do kind of run their business through social media. It's probably not the best idea to start causing drama with clients. That's not really ever going to go well. Unless you have like a really good reason to, you know, like if they've like scammed you or something, they haven't paid for a service that you provided them. It just never was a good idea, especially considering from what we've heard now, with everything that we've heard is true. This happened 2 days in a row, pretty much the exact same situation. At that point, when it happens on the second day, you should probably think, okay, maybe I was in the wrong for that, you know?
Our number one priority is to always put the client first and ensure that moving forward, nothing like this ever happens again. The bride and groom are good people, and it's just not fair that their special day is overshadowed with this. So I'm just going to leave this here, and I wish them a long and a happy marriage.
Okay, well, that's the Key Looks video. It's probably the best video she's uploaded about this whole situation at this point. But looking at the comments, people don't really seem to be buying it. But did you refund them? Yes or no? I doubt that's going to happen. I mean, I can imagine it's probably a lot of money as well because it's for a wedding. I want to hear from the bride and groom at this point, honestly. Well, we have heard from the bride at this point. The change of background, LMFAO, yeah, because obviously in the first part that she uploaded, she was in front of like some like wedding stuff. Let me have a look. Yeah, so this is the part 1 video. As you can see, there's a lot of wedding pictures in the background. I believe this one here as well is actually the wedding party of this situation, where she's actually in the middle. I saw the picture on a different video and I can't find it at this point. I just try to look for it and I can't find it. But there was a clearer image of this picture where she's with like the wedding party as if she was almost part of it, or at least That's what people are taking from it, that she wanted to kind of be part of it. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe this was just like an innocent photo, but it's apparently hung up on a wall now, and I'm pretty sure it's this picture here. But there is some nice comments on the Key Look video, like this one saying this is a good apology. Hopefully they get a partial refund or something though. I could imagine being a brand having to go through this. Thank you. Now take a break from social media, get you a PR rep, and go talk to someone you feel is a safe place for you. Just let this die down and keep working. Yeah, I mean, I think that's decent advice, right? Because clearly, as we've seen throughout the situation, she was going through some stuff and she seemingly, from my perspective at least, just wanted to be around for people to take a mind of it, and she's just picked the wrong time and the wrong place. A wedding, someone else's wedding that you're supposed to be working at. It's not the place for it, and this is all just kind of spiraled to this point. But either way, it seems like both the situations we spoke about today are now over, so this is like a closing episode for them situations, and we can move on in the next videos as well, and the next topic will not involve weddings, I believe. And yeah, if you did enjoy the video, leave a like, subscribe, all that stuff. And until the next one, I'll see you guys in a bit. All right, goodbye.